A lot of you guys don't know my backstory, but like 2 years ago, doctors told me my liver was on the final stage of cirrhosis. They said my liver was shutting down. They said that they had to put together like an aggressive treatment plan, and that I had to get this taken care of right away. They said I was going to be sick for 3 months. So like every week, I'd give myself a shot. It was called interferon, and it would make you really sick. You would throw up. You felt really weak. After doing like research on my condition, I saw that it wasn't pretty, that I was like steps away from needing a liver transplant. So it was during those 3 months that really changed my mind. I mean, I was crying, I was depressed, I hated life. I was listening to depressing music. I was listening to like Tim McGraw, Live Like You Were Dying. I would just weep to his music. Even though that song is amazing, I still like it today. And even though I'm cured now, my liver is still in the final stage. You can't reverse the damage that has been done to your liver. So I still know in the back of my mind, that, anything can happen. And they call, liver disease the silent killer because there's no symptoms. It just happens. And so during that time frame, I had a lot of time to do some deep thinking. And that's when I decided that I was going to make some severe changes. I started to think about the things that were important to me, the things that made me feel good. And I realized that helping people made me feel good. So I knew that was where after I realized that that was my goal, to help people, I had to figure out what my strengths were and how I could use those strengths to provide value to others. And that was tough for me because it didn't seem like I had much going for me. I barely graduated high school. I graduated a year late. I dropped out of secondary college. But while I was like thinking about everything, I was going to the gym every day because during that time I was really weak after going through that treatment that I went through, and I wanted to get stronger. But that's really when I found out, that one of my biggest strengths is my mind. My ability to push myself. I was never the biggest, the fastest, the smartest, but I knew that I had a strong mind and that I could be consistent. And during this time frame, I came across my first mentor, Andy Frisella. And he is where I really discovered that, being consistent is a strength. So I decided, from here on out, I'm going to keep on pushing myself day in and day out in the gym. I'm going to be consistent and disciplined. I decided that I was going to document my entire journey on social media. I started a new Instagram account, and, day by day, I was making posts about my journey. And then it just goes back to the mentors. I started following these guys and applying the knowledge that they were giving me, and they gave me the confidence that I needed. They gave me the self-confidence that I needed, and they gave me drills to practice, like affirmation drills, and just believing in yourself. Every single day when I woke up, I would look at myself in the mirror, and I would tell myself these things. It's time to be the best possible you. I would say things like, hey, this is L.A. Aguayo. I'm a professional bodybuilder. I'm a leader in my community. All these things that I wanted to be. And then I'd have to remind myself throughout the entire day, if I was a professional bodybuilder, what would I be doing right now? What would I be eating right now? How would I be acting? It was a grind, but a day at a time. I started making some noise in the community. I really started to build my following on Instagram. I set out to, change someone's life. Everyone goes in with the whole thought of, hey, if I can change one life, I did my job. It quickly became so much more overwhelming than that. I started getting 2 to 3 messages a week. My phone was blowing up all the time. But what I want to remind everyone was this was over a 2-year process. So much time, so much grinding went by before I got anything. I was just hitting the gym. I kept quiet. I segregated myself from the people who were being negative, and I just kept on busting my ass. And then sure enough, the day came, where I wouldn't say it was one specific day, but the opportunity started to come my way. So at the beginning of the year, I just had a ton of phone calls. I was taking phone call after phone call during the month of January. So all of this year, I've traveled the nation, and I've had the opportunity to share my story and make even deeper connections with people. Next year, I already got an invitation to go to Canada and speak at their national convention. I guess the moral of the story is, what do you consider success? I don't have a lot of money to show for it. I got paid to do the talks, but it's not that much money. But, I think if I died right now, I would have a lot of people who would think to themselves, that guy did something for me. I post frequently, about the testimonials that people send me, and I'm still getting them. It's such an amazing experience. And if you ask like anybody that was, that knows me well, this was not the type of person that I was. I was a punk kid, I've been to jail, I was doing bad things, I was disrespectful to everyone, I would cuss anybody out in a heartbeat. Sometimes it just takes a certain moment in your life to decide that it's time to make a change, and that it gives you perspective on what the bigger meaning really is. Now I wake up every single day just extremely grateful to have the opportunity to be alive and to be healthier. But it's funny to me because so many people, like my parents, my family, they look at me and they're like, man, why don't you just settle down? Why don't you just get a regular job and just, support your... But what they're missing is my perspective. I feel like I have a deeper meaning to my life, that I have a very special purpose, and I want to make sure it gets fulfilled. So part of this, is that I know that if I want to reach my vision, that I need to do something extra now. I need to start making money. Basically, I'm going to use the same exact process that I just described to you, my whole bodybuilding journey, and except this time I'm going to use a business. And honestly, think about it. Is it really that random that I started a social media marketing agency? I use social media to change my life and to provide me opportunities. Now, basically, I'm going to do the same thing for small businesses. I'm going to figure out what their story is, and I'm going to tell it on social media and give them results. I've proven that I can do it myself through, quality content and engagement. So I think it's a perfect situation for me. So, that's pretty much it, and that's why I'm bringing you guys along this journey. I feel confident, I've done this before, and I'm just taking on a different aspect of my life. And whenever I start to doubt myself, I just look back on what I've already accomplished, and I start to think about my reason why again, and that refuels my energy. All right, I think my pre-workout is officially kicked in now, so I'm going to go hit the gym.